All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are watching this live, if you are watching this on the replay, then go ahead and put hashtag replay. I am your favorite life and relationship strategist. I am MarshaunO, and I help Christian women that are married or in long-term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift you to feeling heard, understood, and appreciated. Now, we're going to talk about the best marriage advice that I have received, as well as a few other people that I know have received, and they passed along the information to me. They actually agreed with me, and so I want to come here and share that with you as well. Before I actually jump into that, I want to ask you, yes, I want to ask you, are you ready for Valentine's Day? Yes, you. Are you ready for Valentine's Day? And if you're saying no, if you're saying I don't know, then you're probably not ready, right? So I wanted to really come here and get you ready, get your mind ready, get you completely ready to do what you need to do as far as Valentine's Day is concerned. And I am literally on a mission to decrease the divorce rate while simultaneously increasing the marriage rate. And one of the ways to do that is to increase your intimacy. And so I created this book. This is my Amazon best-selling book. I am here to ship this to your front door before Valentine's Day. Only thing you do is pay shipping. You get the book for free and you pay shipping. I ship it to your front door. The link is up above, but if you are just joining, it is at bit.ly/50 reasons I fell in love. Again, that's bit.ly/50 reasons I fell in love. I want to jump into 7 of the 10 ways that I heard about, creating the best marriage, right? The best marriage advice that I've received, as well as other people around me. So the very first thing is to remember that you do not do anything that you're not going to keep up more than one time. Now, that does not mean experiencing new things. That's not what I'm talking about. What I mean by that is maybe you're a person who faked the funk about sports. And this is for men and women, right? I know the majority of women do this, but this is for men and women, right? Maybe you faked the funk because you knew that your potential spouse loved sports. And so you was all gun-ho. When the country was open, you was traveling with your spouse, you was going to games, you was going to parties, you was even throwing the parties. And now all of a sudden, you guys have gotten into a relationship and you got comfortable, or you got into a marriage and you got comfortable, and now you stop doing the very thing that you claim that you loved a long time ago. In this instance, going to watch a sporting event or going to the event. So do not do anything once that you do not want to keep up. Again, I'm not talking about new experiences, but I am simply addressing the mundane things, the things that we would pick up and do pretty much every day that pretty much makes up the core of who we are in our relationship. So again, I brought up football. I brought up sports. Don't just do that just to attract the person. The second thing is, don't tell your parents how awful your spouse is. Yes, I know you want to vent. Yes, I know you just want to get this off your chest. The reason why I say is don't tell your parents. It's not so much that you just can't tell them, or it's just something I'm thinking that don't tell your parents. It's more of the fact that they are your parents. Your parents are always going to have your back. Now, yes, I get it. There are going to be some people out there where they're not going to have their children's back. Those are not the people that I'm talking about. But literally, more than likely, your parents, the people that have birthed you, the people that have raised you, are going to have your back no matter what. And so they might love your spouse, but it's mainly because that's the spouse that you chose, right? They might even tolerate your spouse, again, because that's the spouse that you chose. But by and large, they're going to have your back. So if something is going down, if something is going wrong, right? Even if you're wrong, they're going to have your back. And when you guys are back on one accord and you guys are having a very blissful time once again, guess what? Your parents are not going to forget the transgressions that he or she brought to you in the first place. So do not tell your parents how awful your spouse is, unless you have parents that can really tell you when you are doing wrong, despite the fact that you are their child, right? Tell it to a trusted friend, tell it to a therapist, tell it to a coach, tell it to somebody else, because I get it. You need to vent. You need to get this stuff off your chest. But those that you know are going to be around your spouse, especially holidays always come up. They're going to see your spouse. You do not want to make it uncomfortable because you couldn't handle something in the moment. So keep your business as private as possible when it comes to the treatment, right? Because you are the only person that can fix it by addressing it, as well as your spouse or who's ever doing it, right? In this case, I am initially talking about your spouse doing something wrong to you, right? So with that being said, you have to address it. So you play a part in it, and then your spouse has to correct it. So it's you guys are the only two people that can correct what is actually going wrong in the relationship. So keep your people out of your business, especially if it is not constructive criticism. If it's only criticism, that's not what you need. You need somebody to pretty much put you back in place and black and call you on your mess. No. You was playing games yourself. You shouldn't have did that yourself. So you need those type of people in your corner, in your life. And then also people that can just, the third party, that can just really hear what you're saying, not take either side, right? So do that. Do not tell your parents how awful your spouse is. Number 3, marriage is what you make it. Yes, marriage is what you make it. It is not what your parents made theirs. It is not what your friends made theirs. It is what you and your spouse decide to make it. So if you are in an awful position right now, meaning you're always sad, you're always frustrated, you're always pissed off, you're always, thinking about how you can get out of this thing, guess what? If you're really not ready to walk away, then you, yes, you, have the power to change it all around. I didn't say this was going to be easy. It might take some time to turn things around. But if you are really willing to do the work, to have the tough conversations, to actually put in the work, meaning changing your behavior, changing your attitude, because you only have control over you. Your spouse only has control over him or herself, right? You only have control over you. So the change that we seek in our relationships really starts within our own self. And so if you can start to change your own behaviors, if you can start to change your own habits, then guess what? You can absolutely change your relationship around. But here's the thing. It is not going to be an overnight process. So you have to be willing to really be in this thing for the long haul, because relationships and marriages are a marathon. They are not a sprint. This is not something that happens overnight where you guys become one overnight. It really does take time. It does take time for most people. Of course, there are exceptions to everything that I'm speaking about, but for most people, relationships and becoming one and getting on one accord where you guys have a synchronous relationship usually takes time to do. And you're going to be frustrated at times, because you have to remember that you are two imperfect people trying to build this perfect relationship, and that is perfect for the two of you, right? So please remember that marriage is what you make it. If you want to be happy, start saying, I'm happy no matter what, right? Show up laughing, show up having fun, show up trying to, play around with your spouse more, create more fun moments, right? Some more memorable moments. So you can look back and be like, you know what? I actually like this person. I like my husband. I like my wife. I like my girlfriend. I like my boyfriend, right? Being able to say these things and really mean it. Not just some of the things that we post on social media when things are going good. Because here's the thing you have to remember. We, me included, post the great or the good that we're going through in our relationships. Nobody is usually posting the bad. And if the bad happens to get posted, it's usually not by you. It might be by an onlooker who decided to take a video of you guys, and then now it's gone viral. But it's not something that we usually do. So please keep that in mind. Marriage is what you make it. You are the change that you seek. Number 4, do not compare your union to anyone else's union. Do not compare your union to your parents, to your grandparents, or anybody else's union that you seemingly feel that they have everything together. Because again, just like I mentioned for social media, we put the good on there, we put the great on there. That's exactly what a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people let you see what they want you to see. The good or the bad. But we let you see what we want you to see as individuals as well as couples. So please keep that in mind. The things that you see, that you're trying to compare your relationship or your situation with somebody else's, you're going to start losing. Because anytime we start putting ourselves in the seat of comparison, you're losing. Not only are you losing out on that moment, you're losing out on all of the things that your spouse is actually bringing to the table, right? And I actually was talking to a young lady, a client not too long ago, and she was telling me how her and her guy was getting into an argument, all because she was comparing her relationship to another couple that they were hanging out with. So basically, the other couple, they were laughing and joking and just having a lot of fun, and the guy was all really touchy-feely, right? And she wasn't getting this from her own man. And so she was feeling very like left out, or how come you can't do this? But instead of her keeping it up here, or at least blocking that out and actually understanding who she has alongside her, the type of man that he is, because maybe he's not the touchy-feely type of guy. Maybe he doesn't like to do public displays of affection. So not thinking about the type of man that she's with, she out of a sudden put her guy in the comparison spot of the other couple, the guy of the couple that they were hanging out with. And so anyway, they started to get into an argument in public. Well, number one, that's not sexy. Number two, again, you're losing out on precious time, on precious moments, because you're comparing what you have, your union, to someone else's. And anytime we start to compare ourselves or our relationship to other people's, you are now in the losing seat. So do not do that to yourself. Do not do it to your spouse. Appreciate what you have in front of you. Look at and remember all of the beautiful things that you have going on in your relationship. Seriously, concentrate on what's actually good about your relationship. Concentrate on what's actually positive about your spouse. And really say thank you for those things, because the things that you have in your relationship, the other person could be lacking and really, really wanting those things as well. But because you're so blinded and focused on somebody else's stuff, you can't see it. Take off the blinders and really focus on what you have versus thinking about, wishing and hoping for what somebody else already has, because you never know what they're lacking. You never know what they're hungry for in their own relationship. And then the third thing, she was just making herself look bad. Like that's not cute. It's really not. So number five is to choose your battles. Everything that we think does not need to come out of here. Every time your spouse approaches you about something that you're not doing right, or if they feel like they want to argue in this moment, you don't have to address that. You really do not have to address that. You can say yes or no, or acknowledge it, but you don't have to go deep into this big old argument about anything. Really choose your battles. And here's the thing: when you do choose your battles, when you are selective about the things that you speak about or that you address, then guess what? Your spouse has a better tendency to actually listen to you, to hear what you have to say more often than not, because you're not a complainer. You're not a compulsive complainer. You are selective about the things that you bring to his or her attention. And because you're selective, because you're not a constant complainer, now they are listening like, okay, they're thinking like, okay, maybe I was wrong, or maybe I could address that better. Like, really, you're giving them something to think about versus just going willy-nilly and always complaining and nagging about things over and over and over again. Like, literally, men can nag too, but women do most of the nagging. I understand that, but men can nag just as much. Stop the nagging. It's not helping. It's actually turning your spouse and partner off. You're turning them off. You're turning him or her off. Stop the nagging. Choose your battles carefully. Choose your battles carefully, because there's always going to be something that frustrates you. It's always going to be something that annoys you. It's always going to be something like, really, are we really having this conversation about this thing? Like, really, we are. So there's always going to be one of those really moments for you. So choose your battles selectively. You'll get more of what you want when you choose your battles. All right. Number 6, your spouse is not responsible for your happiness. Like, they're not. Your spouse is not responsible for your happiness. You are responsible for your happiness. You have to decide, no matter what is happening in the world, no matter what is happening in your relationship, whether or not you're going to be happy. Are there going to be moments where you're not going to be happy? Yes, there are. Yes, there are. However, By and large, for the majority of what's actually happening in your relationship, guess what? You are the person to choose whether you want to be happy, mad, sad, grateful, and just have a good time or not. It's really all up to you. Because, again, you have the power to control the person that you are becoming. The person that you are in that moment. You have the power to control yourself. You cannot control your spouse with what he or she says, what they do not do. You cannot control anything about them. Yes, we would all like to, right? We can all suggest things, but we cannot control him or her. You can only control you. And because you can control you can control the choice to be happy. Right? You can control the choice to engage in that argument, right? Find something that's going to change your attitude and your way of thinking whenever you get ticked off. Now, again, are you going to be perfect at this? Especially if you're just starting out? No, you're not. You're going to mess up and you're going to revert back. But guess what? It's all about practicing. And that is why I use the word becoming. Because each of us are becoming something every day, whether better or worse. You can choose. You have the right to choose everything because you are creating the love life, whether you realize it or not. You are creating your life as well as your love life every day by every single moment and choice that you make. So choose to be happy on purpose, no matter what. Because nobody can ruin your day unless you allow them. Nobody can say something to you that ticks you off or puts you in a state of frustration and anger unless you already believe the thing that they're saying about you to you. If you believe it, then that's why you're feeling sad. That's why you're feeling frustrated and angry, or you want to go for them. Yeah, because you already believe what they're saying. But if you don't believe that stuff, you let that stuff roll off and you keep moving. Keep moving with your life. Right? So choose to be happy no matter what. Because life is always going to get in the way. Whether it's something with your spouse, whether it's your career, whether it's your cash flow, whether it's your house, whatever, life is going to get in the way. And so it's not so much about what life is actually doing. It's about how you're responding to what life is bringing to you. Number 7, the last and final tip is literally to keep God first. I'm a Christian, so I got to talk about God. And I purposely put God last here because this is where we usually put God on our list. We usually put God on our last on our list, but we expect for him to show up and show out first. So if you continue to put God last on your list, guess what? You're going to continue to receive little, not a lot, right? So we have to stay prayerful. We have to stay, just mindful of God moments. Right? Stay prayerful, stay mindful, pray as much as you can with and for your spouse, for and with your family. Like I literally pray with my husband and daughter. We try to do it nightly. Sometimes we miss out, but we usually pray nightly together. Few minutes, making sure that God is in the center of our family. Again, it doesn't happen every day. We're a work in progress. This is something that we started last June. So we haven't even been doing it for a year yet. And so we fall off sometimes. But it's all about that becoming that I was speaking about earlier. We are becoming a more God-centered family. And that is what I'm hoping for you as well. So with that being said, I am MarshaunO, your favorite life and relationship strategist. Do not forget to go and order your book, 50 Reasons I Fell in Love with You. The link is up above, but if you missed it, if for some reason you can't find the link, I'm going to say it right here. It's bit.ly/50 Reasons I Fell in Love. Again, that's bit.ly/50 Reasons I Fell in Love. Again, you're going to get my Amazon bestseller sent right to your front door. You just pay for shipping, you get the book for free. You pay for shipping, you get the book for free. I'm sending this right to your front door. Again, the link is up above or at bit.ly/50 Reasons I Fell in Love. Definitely go and get your copy today. Of course, there are limited copies for this. So go ahead, and send me your information so I can send you your copy. I love you guys. There's nothing that you can do about it. Again, I am MarshaunO, your favorite life and relationship strategist, and I help Christian women that are married or in long-term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift them to feeling heard, understood, and appreciated, because my mission is to decrease the divorce rate while simultaneously increasing the marriage rate, one conversation at a time. All right? I love you guys. Bye.